welcome to Burning Hammer Wrestling. My name is Seth. This is my buddy Dave.
What up?
We just did 15 minutes or so.
Easily 15 minutes,
and then
shit crashed.
System crash. And then we do all these diagnostics to try and figure out the problem. I don't know if we figured it out or not, but I guess we'll find out. Go over to w.gg to help us out. Use our promo code. You get 10% off, and you get some energy. Yeah, that sucked. We were talking about Jey Uso. I mean, the Jey Uso thing is just wild. Like the whole thing, everybody's been talking about it, obviously.
Yeah.
But the botch in the Austin Theory match,
that
weird
whole match
off the
was
ropes.
a weird call to begin with.
Yeah.
And then the weird spear crossbody that even the commentators are like, what?
It was just an unnecessary squash match, first of all.
Yeah,
to begin with, from the start, it's already unnecessary.
Unnecessary squash match.
Then you have him go off the ropes. It's like a corner, sideways crossbody spear thing.
Yep.
And Theory was even kind of angled when you look at it again,
for sure.
So I don't know if that was what they were going for or what. But then they botched and then he tries to jump over the top rope to the outside. That gets screwed up. Then the next week, he slips in the corner.
Trying to spear Gunther, who gets the better of him because of it.
So I think, so they rolled with it.
Yeah, and it seems like,
because, I don't think they had any hype for this match, and I think that's the way they're trying to do it.
Yeah.
But it just felt like a weird decision to begin with, and then now to roll with it is kind of weird too. They could turn it into something.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say they can't.
No, I'm not going to say they can't, but I will say that right now, it's the match I have the most investment into. Yeah. At least of what's coming up at Mania, for sure.
And then we were talking about how basically Jey...
Of the big matches.
So Jey basically got over with his character versus his ring work, which I think is really the major thing here. Like, people want to see a Gunther match with somebody that's good in the ring, because he's good in the ring.
Yeah.
So I think that's what people want to see.
And
I think that's another part of that frustration.
Can Jey do it? Because Jey, the reason Jey is getting the spot he's getting is because his charisma, his character, his mic work, all that stuff got him over. Yeah. Super over. But in the ring, and here's what's important. And this is what I was going to say. In the ring, I think that's his weakest point. But it's weird. Because as a tag team, him and Jimmy were so nasty for years. They were one of the best tag teams in the world. And especially that era in the late 2010s when it was, or mid 2010s maybe, when it was like the Wyatts versus the Shield versus Jimmy and Jay versus Cesaro and Kid and Goldust and Stardust and shit. That was such a good era of tag teams. It's not even fucking funny.
It's the load is lighter on a tag team, like on the individual.
And they might just be so much more weathered in tag team work that he's still figuring out singles work. I don't know, but for sure it feels like in the ring is not keeping up with the character work.
Yeah, I agree with that.
To me. And I don't necessarily think he's terrible, but
there's better guys.
There's way better guys in the ring. Yeah. And I think that's my big thought on it, is that I think there's kind of a factor there where even though he's over with the crowd, Jey is, I do think him feuding with Gunther feels weird.
It does feel weird because, it's kind of like in like a sitcom when there's like 4 people and 2 of those people have a scene together. Mm-hmm. And they aren't usually together. It's like when Charlie and Dee have a scene together. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because another character brings that group together. The dynamic's different. I don't think that they necessarily have a dynamic.
I think we're finding out that their chemistry is also not that great. It doesn't feel like those two have this great chemistry. Right. Not to me.
It doesn't feel like it means anything as far as between the two. The tension isn't there yet.
Yeah. Yep. And I don't think that's not, obviously that's not best for business.
Right.
But you have to find out. And so they're going to run it. They're going to see how it does. And if it's beat, they're going to go a new direction.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I do know that on the house shows and stuff, Gunther's been facing like AJ Styles and shit, and I've seen a lot of people be like, "Please give us this."
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Because you just know the matches are going to be off the charts.
Well, he's an in-ring guy. Like Gunther's, that's his whole thing.
Gunther's an in-ring guy.
Mm-hmm. So they want like a big. They want that match.
But he could talk all day too. Like he's one of the best right now, dude. Gunther's so good.
It just feels like an odd matchup between the two. Agreed. The pairing is weird.
Wicked agreed. Yeah. Yeah. So what else, dude? There's always too much to talk about and not enough time.
Yeah. Well, I only watched WWE this week. And the week before. I think I might have watched. I watched some AEW, but I didn't really write anything down about it.
I did. Only one thing though. The only thing I saw that was really has to get talked about is Moxley versus Edge on like Dynamite or something.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Where he took that suplex onto that fucking like nail board.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
That might be the dumbest, most dangerous, reckless spot I've ever seen. Like actually I've ever seen in my entire life. I don't have a fucking clue what they're doing with that.
Yeah, it was very...
That is one of the most reckless things I've ever seen.
I don't know what it didn't
He could have ended his career.
Well, it didn't feel like it was necessary.
Well, I mean, it didn't feel like it because it's super unnecessary.
Right.
Like, objectively. But
and didn't they just have a match?
They just had a match.
Yeah.
And the next week or the next show or whatever, they have another match against each other where Edge suplexes him onto that shit.
Whatever
it's like,
that
did you forget to do that stupid spot on your pay-per-view match? So you had to have one more. You just demanded it, and Tony went, we forgot the nail board. Yeah. Tony, we need to have one more match for no good reason on the next event just so we can do this stupid nail board spot that could have punctured my fucking spine and ended my career and shit.
Yeah, that was it's a weird choice because it's not barbed wire.
Stupid.
It's not like
next level stupid.
Thumbtacks or whatever.
I want to love AEW. I want to love all the companies.
I know, and every time...
I'm not going to just sit here and talk shit about AEW, but it is what it is. Like, if I see something that's so stupid, it absolutely has to get talked about, then I'm stuck.
Yeah. Here's the problem. Every time they go, we just did something good. Like, here's a great pay-per-view.
Every time.
We just did something cool. Like, here's people are starting
the Tony Storm. Everything with Tony Storm's been off the charts.
The whole show
match was incredible.
Yeah.
Here's where the fuck up was though, because like you're saying, every time they get something right, they get 20,000 things fucking wrong and weird.
And I don't know if that's overconfidence or like
I don't know
what it is, but they had Revolution.
I think it might
Revolution's great, and then they say, "Let's get on Dynamite and throw this guy onto a fucking spike bat or whatever the fuck it was."
It was a 2x4 with nails this long on it that were stuck in his back so bad they couldn't pull it out.
Yeah, and what is it?
And he took a back bump on it, which it could have fucking punctured on anything, dude. Like, that is different level stupid. And if it's gimmicked, it's different level stupid.
It you just, know? Yeah, I don't know.
It makes me go, why? It's
Are they
like
trying to be
a race against getting rid of your investors and your sponsors. Like they're doing a speed run of how fast can we turn off all our investors.
I think they're trying to go like, hey, look how much more extreme we are than
nobody wants it though. You know who wants it? Like a few thousand guys in the United States that ever actually show up to that stupid shit.
Like death matches.
Yep, that's it. Because do they have viewership in fucking Japan where whatever small amount of people in Japan give a fuck about death matches anymore? Want to see that shit?
It's the guy in his mom's basement.
You're going to have kids. You're going to have kids see you do a suplex to a suplex.
Yeah.
So that he takes a back bump on a nail board. You're going to let kids see that. And then go try that stupid shit on their little brother and shit.
Yeah, on the trampoline.
Awesome. Very nice. You think that's like pussy shit to care? Oh, you just go watch your soap opera shit.
No. Here's the thing.
You mean the actual product?
Right. Well, here's the thing. I'm not against death matches. However, televised death matches is a different thing.
Yeah,
right. So
a little bit.
I just think like on indie shows and all this stuff or whatever, and you want to, just get the crowd going, fire them up, have, it's whatever. It's an indie show.
Yep. Also, just find ways to do death matches that can still shock and awe while being even remotely safe or sensible. Like, I know that sounds weird, but we've seen Mick Foley matches and shit on WWE that were these crazy hardcore matches that are legendary, where he got beat up for sure. But to me, it's like if AEW ever does a cell match, like a pure Hell in the Cell style match, it will scare the shit out of me because I know someone's going to purposely try to take a bump through it without gimmicking the ring, and they're going to kill somebody.
Yep.
Because that's all they're worried about with
pushing
this stuff
the
is
limits.
how do we that's what I didn't like about the fucking cage match with Ospreay, is that it was like at the expense of the match making any sense with suspension of disbelief. You have these two guys stand on top of the cage for 20, 30 seconds, clearly working together to set up a spot that's so needless and stupid dangerous.
I think
a forgettable cheap pop.
And that's the thing is we've seen a lot of this shit before. So like how much further can you go? Yeah. Like when you eventually they're going to have
it all. Yeah. What do you do to win the crowd? You go back to what actually works, which is storytelling based wrestling.
Right.
It's the number one thing that's timeless.
I think, eventually they're going to have like outdoor stadiums where they're flying a helicopter above the ring and the guy has to jump out of it or whatever.
Where else do you go?
It's like, where's the end of it?
And I think that it's the thing. Like, it's like we were saying, like AEW will do stuff that I love. And when they do, they will purposely not have it in the position it deserves to be in to surround it with shit that is just classic AEW shit that you want. Like they've developed this reputation for missing big moments with weird shit and always having this like weird taste in your mouth with all the biggest shit they do.
It goes back to what I said. It's like you have this spot where Revolution just happened. People are like, "Fuck yeah, that was cool. Let's start watching AEW." And it's like,
and you instantly turned them off with some stupid nail spot.
Why are you doing that? Like, I don't.
I'll tell you why. Because Moxley thinks it makes him look hard and cool, and it doesn't. It makes him look stupid. And we're learning a lot that is actually how his real mind works. Yeah. Is he's like a 13-year-old edgelord.
But to be fair, Edge is like, I'll do it. Like, you know what I mean? But he's not taking the bump.
What's good with Edge either. Ever since he's been there, I don't know what the fuck is good with him.
I mean, he's just riding it out.
He hasn't done a fifth of as good as he was in WWE.
He's riding it out, though. It's like, I'll suplex you onto a fucking bunch of spite, like a punji pit.
He doesn't give a fuck because he's going, you're willing to take this? Okay.
Right.
I'll fucking suplex you on it then. Your funeral. And Mox I think Mox legit, I genuinely think he wants to die in the ring. I'm not kidding. I think that Mox's big thing is that he wants to try to be some legend who died in the ring.
Yeah, well,
and he doesn't realize that
that's not the way to do it.
Yeah, and no one would care. No one's gonna go. He's legendary. He died in the ring. No one gives a fuck.
No, right.
We want you to just not die and have a happy life instead.
Yeah,
and I hope he does. But he's chasing not when he's doing shit where he's taking a lower back bump on a nail board.
I'd rather go on something like high risk, a flying move or some shit. Like La Parka, right? Like La Parka's La Parka's been played by two people or three people now.
I think three now.
Because La Parka actually just came back not long ago, and as another character. Mm-hmm. But like I'm pretty sure the last one died from complications from an injury.
I think so.
And I think they were just jumping out of the ring. They like hit the barricade weird or some shit.
Yep.
And like that to me is more like, I don't know. I don't think, because you're setting yourself up for failure.
Dying because there was an actual accident during the work of regular storytelling based wrestling is much different than going,
now you're introducing,
I'm starving to die in the ring, so I'm gonna put myself in a position to die in the ring.
Yeah, it's weird.
Like
that you're
that
introducing
is just dumb.
The factor.
It's dangerous enough.
Yeah, intentionally
you know what I mean?
Introducing it is weird.
That shit is just like, I again can't say it enough. I want to love AEW. There's things about AEW I love. There's people over there. I generally will always support wrestlers and support wrestlers having a place to get paid. But I genuinely have in detail voiced that I think AEW is bad for the business right now.
They just make it hard.
It just keeps getting worse for the business.
Yeah. They make it hard for you to want to, like, because like I said, Revolution was good, and like, and now they're on a high, and they're like, yes, like, let's go with this.
Let's do something wicked shot that is clearly dumb. But again, but I'm glad you said that, because I think it was remembered this point.
They wanted to stay with that momentum and do something shocking, and you know what I mean.
And I think a lot of that may come from the fact that it's from what everybody seems to say. Tony's not a boss, and I don't mean that in an insulting way. I'll get to it. What I mean is, he doesn't hold the role of a boss the way most people expect in the wrestling industry. He's not like he's not Triple H.
Well, he's not an intimidating factor.
Well, but I don't even, it's not even about that. He's not Triple H, as he's not like the head guy helping everybody develop stories. He wants to run his place as, I give guys freedom to make their stories what they want. And Moxley is just a 13-year-old kid on 4chan from 15 years ago, who we found out is that when he came out with his book, unfortunately, that he just like, his mind thinks stupid shit is cool. That doesn't work and is really cringy, and this Death Riders thing has hyper exposed that.
It's definitely overstayed its welcome, and I think that needs to be wrapped up.
The second they called themselves the Death Riders and he started cutting all these promos every week, making no sense and just rambling and not getting anywhere, not building hype, not building feuds. Every single thing they do helps nobody, including any of their own guys. It's like it might be the worst main event story I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, it's that bad. And it's all either one or two people is guilty for it being this bad. Either they're giving that to Moxley to control and he's making it that bad, or B, Tony's making it that bad.
Well, that's the thing, is
somebody's making it terrible.
I think what I really don't like is that that Moxley and Edge both have the ability to make this thing good, but for some reason there's no magic to it.
What's missing?
You know,
who or what is missing that they had at WWE that allowed them to do so many magical things that people will never forget? That now that they're on their own in AEW, or not on their own, because apparently they have producers and shit too backstage, and Tony, what's making it so that there's every time these guys with high profile come to AEW and they're left to their own devices, or are they? There's never magic. It always gets weird.
Because that doesn't grab me, but then you have Mariah May and Tony Storm that does.
Couldn't grab me more. Could not grab me more.
It's so weird. That dichotomy is so weird.
I don't get it, man. I don't get it. It absolutely.
I can't put I really can't put my finger on what that is. Because if Tony Storm did that why we're sitting Mariah May, it would not be good for the feud. Like if she put Mariah May onto fucking
the
spikes or whatever, it's like that wouldn't be good for the feud. No, but like I don't know if I think it would be accepted better.
I don't know.
I think it would, because the feud is at least to the point where like
it makes sense.
It made sense
to go wicked hard on each other, and they did, and it was incredible.
Yeah,
but they didn't do a stupid fucking nail board.
Right. I just don't think that feud is at that level to be able to say that this is worth it.
I think Moxley doesn't, if he's in control, I say that very clearly.
Yeah.
If he's in control of this Death Riders story or whatever the fuck it's trying to be, I don't think there's anybody involved that has a fucking clue what they're doing with that. Like, if Moxley's in control, I think he's legit walking in the room to pitch these ideas to everybody, and he sounds just like he does in his promos, and they're all going, what?
Mm-hmm.
What are you talking about? Like, the past 5 multiple-minute long Moxley promos that I've sat and watched the whole thing of, where it's him backstage and he's cutting this long drawn out promo, pacing around,
and he's saying nothing.
He wants so bad to look cool and tough and hard, and he's saying all this shit that he thinks sounds cool, and then you listen to it and at the end you go, what the fuck is he talking about?
Yeah, like, what did he just say?
He didn't say anything that has to do with the guy he's facing. He didn't say anything that has to do with the title. He's got the title.
I know,
and you don't even see it.
Like, dude, there was one that I saw that he kept saying the same thing. Like, he said it like 4 times, and then there's like everybody else is behind him, and like they're just kind of going with it. And I'm surprised they don't.
They all just stand there.
Yeah,
like a deer in headlights when he's talking.
So I don't know. That just
it's so weird, dude.
It just has to stop, and because you have Cesaro. Like, you have all this talent that could be on doing other shit. You have plenty of talent.
Good guys there, man.
And it feels like they're wasting them too, you know?
That's why AEW is so frustrating to me. And it's so tough for me because I want to like it. There were times when it was newer that I genuinely think it was actually way better.
It was better, yeah.
So much better. And it's not just terrible now. Like, some stuff they do is great. Some stuff they do isn't.
Yeah.
And
I was watching that.
It's all weird.
I would say I was watching that more than WWE until like 2020 or 20.
As soon as Vince was gone, truly, and Triple H was clearly taking the story reins.
Yeah, it changed everything.
Everything changed. And WWE's just been the most on fire it's ever been now.
After like Rumble before WrestleMania 40.
Yes.
Was like where
they even
that
said
road to WrestleMania.
That road to WrestleMania to build up to 40 was like that when the new era started.
Yeah, there was a surge there.
Yep. And I feel like around the same time is when all the shit started going down with Punk and AEW, which was weird. And everybody shit on all the AEW fans that are like, I hate WWE just because WWE, and I have to like whatever's different as like an identity. So no matter what, I will never ever hear that there's something wrong with AEW. And so Punk is a shithead and everything he said is a lie and shit. And then to me, the fall off of AEW to where it is now, how bad and again, weird bad it is. It's not just bad. It's also you watch it perplexed going, what?
Yeah.
Like, what happened? And to me, that started with that fucking storyline with the Young Bucks where the fuck have they been? You know what I mean?
That is kind of where it started.
Where they came out and were tried to play like a ripoff of Vince McMahon for who knows why. It didn't work, and they didn't stick with it, and it just disappeared.
Right, they tried to be like the corporate.
And then Tony came out and was like, "I'm going to air the footage and show everybody, our side." And then every second of the footage was verbatim exactly what Punk said on that Ariel Helwani.
That was a real problem.
All it did was just, why are you showing another company's talent on your show in an attempt to make him look bad? And it makes him look like the guy that was telling the truth.
Yeah. You're literally pushing another.
It was so weird.
Brand's talent.
And after that, all good faith with the company went, pew! And now ever since, the only truly extraordinary business they're doing is Tony Storm. Everything else is weird for me. Everything. Even Kenny came back, and I was so excited.
Well, that's another thing. Is like,
what is going on?
That's what I'm saying with talent. You got
they
Kenny
got
Omega.
Rid of his God tier theme song too, which pissed me off.
Well, why isn't he in like a feud for the world title? Like, what is happening?
What is that? Yeah. Like, what are
I
we
don't
doing?
know. They got a lot of.
I don't know.
They have so much
I don't
talent,
know.
and it just feels like it's not going the way.
Absolutely,
It's just,
absolutely.
and
so
that's
much
what
talent
sucks.
not
I think
getting used right.
I think that's why I don't like it
Yeah.
so much, is because
Me too.
you're just seeing too much go to waste. And
I want to love it, and I love the guys on the roster.
Yeah.
So many of them I think are fantastic, including some of the guys a lot of AEW fans hate and don't give a fuck about, like Darby Allin and shit.
Yeah.
I love all these dudes. I want to see them do well. But they're in an environment where it almost feels like they're thrown to the wolves with no guidance or support, and they don't have an ecosystem that is designed to build stars and maintain compelling storyline-based product.
It feels like a lot of them don't care about AEW as a product. They care about themselves as
Isn't it's WCW too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, Saraya just left her contract.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up too. Saraya just left her contract. I bet we see her in WWE again.
You could see Paige, yeah.
Yep. Especially if she's going to like go in the Hall of Fame and shit, which she very much deserves.
I think so, maybe, yeah.
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 I want to see AJ Lee come back too, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't see that.
A lot of people want her to, and poke at Punk, like Bailey and shit will poke at him on Twitter or whatever, being like, you know what to do, and he's just like, she says hi and no,
yeah.
Like, stop.
She just seems like she doesn't want to. Do it.
Yeah. But anyways, point is, and we've already seen, like, look what happened when Cody left. To me, I think that was a big deal, because I think Cody wanted to take AEW and let them have crazy matches and be known for having the best in-ring work, but still make it matter by at least having storylines. Right. And him wanting to just have logical storyline-based wrestling product. It seemed like that's where he butted heads with them, and why he left.
And that's exactly
now I'm speculating, but that's what it seems like.
I think it's exactly what makes him so appealing to WWE, is that he can be the input in that boardroom,
absolutely,
too, in the creative room. So like, and they like that. Yeah. Like they always want that kind of thing, especially with those who's there now.
Who's your top guys? They want top guys that are, every time they're having a match, they're coming back and going, okay, well, I need all my numbers.
I mean, and
I need everything.
I think what they like too is that he can be a long-term guy also step in on the production side of things.
There's
eventually,
no question he's going to end up being one of those guys of wisdom like his dad was.
Yeah. And well, that's what I mean. He was helping production. He's helping marketing. He's helping everything.
And everybody that worked with him behind the scenes in AEW absolutely loved him.
Right.
And all the younger guys, like your Ricky Starks and shit, like, yeah, I get it. Ricky Starks is a known friend of his now, who's now in NXT.
Yeah.
But there's other guys who won't speak up and say it, who did when he was there.
Yeah.
That would say Cody's a big deal backstage and very helpful with a lot of us. And he's helped us all develop on the mic and like storyline and stuff.
Yeah. And that's a big deal for those. WWE wants to grab a hold of that as soon as they can,
Absolutely.
So I'm watching SmackDown like a couple of weeks ago, and they're overseas. They had a European tour.
They're doing European tour,
and Orton opens the show. I think it was opening the show, or it was somewhere in the middle. I don't know. Orton's entrance stuck out to me for some reason. You hear like the crowd is singing his song, and like it felt to me, I was watching it going like Orton is like really taking this in. And number one, it leads you to believe like Orton's coming to the end here.
Oh yeah.
And number two, that being in that atmosphere probably makes him want to just do it forever, because it was such a like, you could see him just like he was just feeling what was happening, the vibe. And I was just like, man, that like having that kind of experience I would never want to stop.
It's why I understand why you have guys like Ric Flair
retire and come back. Yeah.
Because they're just going, if you haven't been on that turnbuckle,
right,
when the crowd blows the roof off the place and your music's playing
and they're singing
then you don't
song.
Get to have an opinion on me wanting to come back.
When they drop the music off and they're still singing, and that's like, holy shit, dude, that is like, it has to be such a like overwhelming like rush.
Has to be so crazy.
So, you know, I looked at it, I was like, man, he's enjoying it. And that's what you like to see is when they're at this point of their career where they can enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad that he's, you know, getting to do that still.
Me too. And I also think, I just think there's no way we don't see him have a match with Cena before Cena's done. There's no way.
Definitely entirely possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the Cena thing, when you put 1 year on it, it's like, it's so tough because there's so many matches that you want to see. But here's the thing. You have to keep him healthy because you're saying he's got 1 year. So now you have to be healthy. So he has to be healthy.
Yep. And people are already,
and they have to be safe
like,
about it.
Oh, he's part-timing. No shit. Because he's got 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to be so careful.
When you come out and say, I have a year, yeah, now you have to be in a padded room. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's going to have to work safe in everything he does.
Absolutely.
And that could be partially detrimental, I guess, but who knows? But I mean, he's usually safe anyway. You know, his moveset is not huge.
That's right.
I think that's the reason it is that way.
Yeah.
So, and you know, he's been, I mean, we can obviously talk about Cena and the way he's approaching this, but you know, it's like the whole thing, the way he's come out, and he always had talked about how, like, if I was a heel, I would just be the opposite of what I am already, you know, like, and he is going that way. And he came out and he's like, well, you don't get a new theme song. You get nothing. You know what I mean? I don't get new attire. There's none of this stuff. You guys don't deserve it. And, you know, he kind of, and I think a lot of this too is like, you got to think a lot of this is the way he feels. As far as
there's an element of truth to it, which is why it's so good. As
far as how, you know, people booed him even when he was at the top of his game, you know, and you know, he's doing all these great things, Make-A-Wish, and being there for fans, signing autographs, taking pictures, you know, Q&As, all this shit, and people still were against him. And he had to have, you know, it's not like he was oblivious to people not liking him.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
So I think there is an element of truth to that, and I love that.
Me too.
And I think he's done a pretty good job with it. Some people are criticizing it, and obviously you're always going to have criticism on these things.
Everything. In my opinion, I thought his first promo that he cut as a heel was legit one of the best promos I've ever seen from anybody, like, ever in my entire life. I thought it was so unbelievable, and I also think it solidified him as the best on the mic ever. And my reasoning is because he spent he was the doctor of thugonomics and was unbelievable on the mic in that character. Just legendary on the mic in that character, right? Then he completely switches it up to become the superhero, Super Cena. You know what I mean? And he had so many of the best promos ever as Super Cena over that run as the guy. And they were all him being a good guy and having these wicked intense dialogues with other guys and stuff. You know what I mean? So many legendary promos from Cena that just made you go, how could you ever argue he's the best on the mic right now?
Yeah.
Then after all these years, he turns heel. And everybody'd been begging for over 20 years. And his first promo as a heel is completely different than everything else he's ever done for 2 decades. And it's instantly that good. Like, completely different style, completely different everything. And it's so good. Yeah. He's getting such insane crowd reactions, too. He was getting the most insane crowd reactions to everything he said.
Yeah. Well, I think one thing that was so impressive about John Cena was that he was able to get over as John Cena.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't have to be thugonomics.
No.
He could get over as John Cena, and that was what made it so natural for him and easy.
Yeah.
He didn't have to like play a character or anything like that.
Even though people thought he
character.
was and thought he was fake, and it's like, nah, dude.
Yeah. No, yeah, and that's the thing is that he was that, which is crazy.
He lived it.
But like, yeah, I felt it was kind of what I wanted, right?
Yeah.
I didn't really want him to. It's like I would have liked to see like the Thugonomics get up and all that stuff.
Sure.
But it wasn't going to happen. But so I was kind of thinking like I want ECW One Night Stand versus RVD Cena. That's what I want, and that's kind of what you're getting.
It is.
And
he's coming out to the same music, same look,
Yeah.
same all the stuff, and he's trying to get the fans to unanimously hate him right now.
Yes.
Dude, listen, this has to get said about Cena. He might be the GOAT. Like, this run might actually solidify that he legit is the GOAT.
It's going to be so hard to argue that.
There's so much behind this, though, in character and behind the scenes. And you need to think of it like this. Here's a guy who was the guy, and he came from an era where the guy didn't give him jack shit. They all just walked away.
Yeah.
Hogan didn't pass the torch. He just was a prick and a selfish bastard and walked away and fucking was a scumbag.
Yeah.
Austin took his bone, went home. Love Austin, understand why, but even still, he did business with The Rock at 19 in his last match and lost, right? And walked away. And then The Rock went to Hollywood and he also kind of just walked away. The closest we ever got.
The Rock knew he was coming back, though.
He did. And that's why I don't look at The Rock as a guy who didn't do business.
Yeah.
I definitely don't. I mean, dude, look at what he was willing to do for 40. Do right by the fans. He went, yeah, of course we're going to, like, what are you talking about? That's huge. You know what I mean? So all respect in the world to The Rock as one of those guys. You know what I mean? But for Cena to be the guy for as long as he was and have as much stroke behind the scenes and as much power as he does to be able to walk back and go, I'm not going to be a heel. I'm not going to get anybody else over.
Yeah.
I want this. It's my last run. I'm doing it. And I want to look like the good guy doing it. And just be a complete prick backstage. He could get away with it because he's Cena. You know what I mean? So for this guy, after all these years, he announces his last year. He could use it to go on this long nostalgia trip and have it be this. Dude, after all these years of split crowds, he's getting the most unanimous cheers of his career. This was the moment he had been waiting for his whole career, realistically. He's getting all the love now. He's getting all the appreciation for what he really worked to be, right?
And so the boos are disguised as cheers, too. That's what's great about it.
For sure. But here's what's important to me. One, switches up his character, goes heel. He's 10 out of 10 or above somehow as a heel. So you instantly see, he's way more diverse than we ever thought he could be. He's proving it right off the bat. And instead of using his last year to be about him and celebrate his career, he sacrifices it all and turns heel and gives that up to be the bad guy in the role to build the future of the next guy and hand it to him. That is such a big deal.
It's a
backstage.
Win. It's a win on every level.
Never get that. It could not be a bigger deal.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes, on camera, could not be a bigger deal that Cena's using this limited time he has left to deliberately sacrifice it. It's not about him. It's about him passing it to the guy for the sake of the business. And we've never seen it done better. And we've never seen it done by a guy with more control to not do it.
Yeah.
So to me, that solidifies that he's the GOAT.
Yeah, ever. I think it works in so many ways. You can. That was really the only decision here. I think
so.
And I know a lot of people didn't see it coming, but it was like, what is the alternative?
Good, dude.
You can now grab a hold of anyone who was a naysayer to you and say, hey, I can work as a heel.
Yep. Oh, you thought I was shit? Interesting. Then luck.
You also, be the bad guy. Like you said, you can dedicate it to, I'm the bad guy to this guy, and this is how I pass the torch.
It just puts it's the ultimate sacrifice of his whole career to anoint the next guy the right way.
Yeah.
And you know who else has to get credit for doing it as well? Roman Reigns, who is also one of the greatest ever, because he was the guy for years, and he fought tooth and nail through tons of criticism to get it, and won the crowd over, and had a wicked crazy run when he was the tribal chief.
Yeah.
And he also did the right thing at the right time and anointed Cody at 40. Mm-hmm. So he's also important. Don't get me wrong. Very important. But to me, the way Cena's doing this right now is just the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah, I mean, even Roman a year ago or 2 years ago, he was just booed like crazy. But now you get fucking OTC chants.
Oh, my God. He's never been more over. And I think a lot of what helped him get that over is the fact that people saw that ultimate symbol of doing what is best for the story and for the business.
Yeah.
I think that even if you don't consciously realize that that's a factor as a fan, it just still gets recognized subconsciously.
I think you also go
you can't help but appreciate it.
You also go like, okay, well, I don't think he wasn't the reason he was pushed for this long.
No.
Vince McMahon was. You know,
I think you could argue he was eventually, because he was so good.
Well, at a certain point, you're undeniable.
He was so good at carrying the high pressure moments.
Yeah.
You know,
he just did feel forced on people for a certain amount of time.
There's no question.
And I think that's what people didn't like, and they resented it.
Until he turned heel and became the tribal chief is when he won over the crowd.
Yes.
It was the best work of his career that run.
Yeah.
And it was only a few years. It was what, 3-4 years of tribal chief? And it was just incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, eventually, you know, that's
something I hope that doesn't get forgotten, because Cody is on this run that is one of the craziest runs starting up and building that we're just ever seen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's in this fucking crazy Hulk Hogan, John Cena level spot. And I think it's a lot, it's very different from what we got with Roman, but I do hope that Roman maintains his flowers, like that people don't ever forget.
No,
his era carrying.
I think people give a lot of shit to wrestling fans, but it's like ultimately when everything's said and done and they look at their career, these people's career, it's like, you know, that's when they realize, you know, the scope of what was done.
Yes.
And I don't think it's with Roman and Cena.
Yep.
This is the point where you're now going, we can appreciate him for what he did.
Yes.
Which
brings me back to Moxley, because he hasn't done anything in AEW yet that is what you're going to remember him for more than the fucking Shield.
Yes.
In my opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
The Shield is the biggest thing he ever did. And he hasn't found that thing that really made him, like, in a way that's more memorable than the Shield.
Right. You want him to have a spot where he get to a point where people can look at his body of work and go, okay, yes.
Yeah, because Seth and Roman did that.
Yeah.
There's no question they did.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that, you know, and it makes you wonder if he would have stayed, what would have happened.
He left because he was demanding to leave because he hated, I don't know what. It sucks because what it looks like it is
he thought that
he hated it because why won't you let me take a suplex on a nail board?
Yeah, that's the way it looks now.
They're like, well, we have doctors that aren't fucking stupid. But I don't want to believe that that's what it was. You also have to consider he was working under Vince, who was fucking dunzo.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine. I feel like if he ever finds his way back to WWE under Triple H's situation, he'll probably go, oh, damn.
I don't know what he really feels right now, if he would actually want to do that or not.
I think he hates WWE worse than Punk did.
Maybe.
And but all I can base it off of is random interviews and shit. You know, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, and you don't know how much of it's a shoot or what it is.
You don't know what he's doing.
Actually,
yeah.
Right. So also on that SmackDown, I think it was the same SmackDown as the Orton thing.
Yeah.
Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre got into it a little bit.
Yeah. Dude, they're building towards that.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I never thought about that feud, and now You're going there, like
Dude,
right in the same spot.
They had a wicked nasty promo that was Priest, Drew, and
They were both in the chamber
either
match.
Punk or Rollins. I want to say it was Punk because it was a setup for the chamber. And
the one where Drew was standing on the announce table.
Yep. And Priest cut one of the best promos of his career on Drew.
Yeah.
And Priest, I mean, I've talked about this 100 times. He was the weakest link in the Judgment Day. And after he had that match with all the pressure in the world on him, main eventing at one of the best pay-per-views I've seen in my entire life, honestly, very special pay-per-view was Backlash in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Where the main event was him versus Bad Bunny. Yeah. That was such an incredible pay-per-view with one of the greatest crowds of all time.
Yeah, it was.
And I'll never forget that pay-per-view. To me, that match was when I saw, they've got a main event guy here. Like, this guy can carry that pressure and deliver.
Yeah.
Ever since then, his mic work has just shot through the roof.
Yeah, and it's a shame that he fell off a little bit in the last, 4 months or so.
He's way on them. He's absolutely a top guy still.
But now put him with McIntyre, who just came off this,
you put him with other top guys that can have top guy level feuds, even if the world title's not involved.
Yeah, and the Punk McIntyre was a huge deal.
That's right. Now
Best
you're going feud of the year.
He's on the heels of that, so build on that.
Yeah,
and I don't blame him. They gave him the world title. They gave him the strap already.
Yeah,
it's
and Priest and Drew in that segment. Priest said to him, I eliminated your ass and tossed you on the floor at the Rumble. And now this time in the chamber, I'm going to look you right in the face and eliminate your ass again. Yeah. And he did exactly that. He eliminated Drew in the chamber and looked him right in the face and went, told you, bye. It's like the perfect setup to just have these two hard badass guys meet and just have a nasty feud, dude.
I wish they'd give him a little more screen time.
Yeah, sure.
I think that's a cool way to, they don't have much time now. I mean, we're halfway through March, and then it's like, you're going to...
I don't see their feud ending at Mania. I see Mania being the first match in it. Yeah. I think that feud will probably blow over at SummerSlam, if anything. Give them a couple matches.
Yeah, you could. You could. Unless they find something out.
Both of those guys are fucking money.
Yeah.
They
might find something else for these guys. Who knows? Sure. There's so much in the mix right now.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
You know what else was cool? Was the Charlotte and Tiffany Stratton, the way they did this panel, it was like a interview, but not an interview. They weren't even asking questions, were they? I think they were just talking back and forth. But the way they did it with the panel setup, split the screen, was really cool. I kind of want them to do more of that.
Yeah, it was like what they did. Do you remember when they did that with Matt Riddle and Rollins, where they kind of played off of the Jones DC moment that everyone talked about in MMA?
That's
where they had the camera end, and then they talked shit to each other off camera, and Matt said he was going to fuck them up, and they censored the F word and shit.
Yeah,
it reminded me of that.
Yeah, I like that because that is more of a it feels. And then we're talking over each other, which is great.
Yeah.
It gives me like a Pierce Morgan Uncensored vibe where everybody's just trying to get out their goddamn point.
It just reminded me of a UFC shit talking thing before a fight.
It's like, that's exactly what it is.
Where they have to be in separate rooms to stop them from going after each other. And they're there to talk to each other. And
they're talking shit to each other.
I like it when they are getting asked questions, and it kind of just boils over and just goes into it, just shits the bed, but on purpose, and leads to them just talking shit. But I didn't have an issue with it. I thought that was awesome.
I think needed more of it.
Yeah, I think they do need to do that with more feuds. You could do that with Priest and Drew, and it would work.
That kind of shit goes viral.
Yeah,
that's great for,
and that's how, dude. That absolutely,
that's
that
great
clip
for
is
social
going
media
viral too.
Yeah.
I agree totally. And it elevated my investment a lot in Charlotte versus Tiff. And I already was invested, but on a simpler level of just, that match is going to deliver in the fucking ring. But storyline wise, they amped it up big with that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I just enjoyed it. I think that that's money right there, dude.
It
Just
is
keep
money,
doing that
dude.
shit.
Couldn't agree more. It is fucking
do it
money.
with everybody, man. Let it happen.
Yep.
It's easy to set up too. I mean, shit, you just put a couple cameras backstage or whatever, and there you go.
Absolutely, it's so easy to do.
So there was a new performer that debuted on Raw.
What?
Yeah, dude. El Grande Americano.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yes. Oh, yeah, dude.
From the Gulf of America.
I didn't even think of new guy because all I could think of is like, it's so clearly Chad. It's so clear. Dude, I love it.
That's what people say. People say it's Chad Gable.
I mean, we saw him backstage.
Yeah,
and it wasn't him.
And he had a sick note, too. From the doctor. So there's no way it was. I don't think it was Chad.
Dude, Chad Gable, without a doubt, is like the second coming of Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
He is the Kurt Angle guy of this era.
To have a doctor's note is crazy.
That's different. Dude, it couldn't be him then.
It can't be because, he literally
had a doctor's note.
And he said it was legit. Fucking Adam Pearce said it was legit.
I love that too. That he actually looked at it and goes,
"That's legit." Yeah.
What? Like, just so well done on all their parts, dude. So funny.
Yeah. That's crazy.
That's so funny.
They had like a promo package that was like talking about how he's like a legendary luchador.
That somehow no one's heard of
from
ever
the Gulf
one time.
of America.
Oh my god, dude.
And oh my god, it was so good. Yeah, and then he disappeared for a long time, and now he's back. Man, it was sweet.
Who he needs to face is El Generico. Could you imagine?
That would be
Could you imagine if Sammy came out as El Generico?
Yeah, because people thought, because El Generico like died or whatever.
No,
evidently.
He went back to where he was from to like.
I thought he was killed by like the mob or some
children
shit.
Or some shit, right?
I thought he was killed by like drug runners or something.
No, I have to look it up now. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna search what happened to El Generico.
Yeah, because it's
El Generico.
Yeah, if he brought him back, man, that could work. That'd be a great match too. Those two.
No, I don't. Yeah, he went back to Mexico to help run the orphanage that had been founded in his name.
Oh, I thought he was. Yeah, well, some people said thought he was died or whatever.
Well, he disappeared, bro. Could you imagine if El Generico came back to face this dude?
It sounds like he's got his hands
full. It's too
though.
perfect. It's too perfect.
Yeah, but the orphanage, like, who's going to run the orphanage and all that?
I don't know. What you do is you have Sami Zayn feud with him, though. And
it would be
That's
great.
how you do it. And go, I think I know a guy that I might have to bring in to fight this dude.
The whole angle's great because he's trying to like be better against luchadors, but he's like,
and he's sick, dude. He's wicked sick.
It's great.
Of course, shocker. He's good in the ring. Okay.
Yeah, it's weird that he's like ripping at people's. They're doing a lot of ripping guys' masks off, and I don't know if I love it.
I think it's him
because
Kofi
did it too, like a couple months ago.
Yeah, that was.
It's getting weird.
Who'd he do that to? Ray?
Yeah.
That was to tease them turning heel.
Okay.
And that was the first time I'd seen it in a while, was to tease the turning heel. So it was at least logical. It's a heel fucking move. It's wicked disrespectful to Ray, and it was pre them turning. Remember?
Yeah, I just
and
worry
Kofi was like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
I just don't know if
this one felt different and felt like it was almost something that he's going to try to keep doing when he faces luchadors because of how disrespectful it is to him. And it gets him the win because the second he rips the mask, they're not going to show the guy's face. And so the guy goes, "Fuck that." Yeah. And then he goes, "You're pinned. I got you. Get smoked." I've definitely seen that used as a tactic in the past. Used successfully on Ray, like a few times.
I get it. I just don't love it.
Me neither. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I understand why they're doing it. I don't know if it's necessary.
Yeah, because it is legitimately a luchador thing. It
is kind of beat.
So it's kind of weird. It feels like cheap. It feels like
show their face. I can live with it.
It just feels like cheap heat. That's
of course it is. Yeah, it's definitely cheap heat. But that's the kind. I mean, it's Chad Gable.
It is in character.
Some of the cheap heat is what is so funny about him. Some of my favorite heel work ever is like Jericho, and so much of his stuff is just the cheapest, bottom of the barrel.
Well, Jericho was
so good at it.
Jericho got in some shit with that kid.
I love that shit. The kid pulls a six-pack out, and Jericho starts to go, the fuck? And starts to second guess because he sees a six-pack.
Yeah.
Dude,
Jericho's
I don't give a fuck what anybody says about Jericho. I will always love Jericho's work.
He's unreal.
He's too good, and that stuff is why, because he saw that kid, he started talking shit to him, and it blew up into a moment. And as soon as he showed his six-pack to the kid, it was like, fuck you, kid, or whatever. And that kid stood up, was like, oh, you're jacked? Yeah. Has a six-pack.
Yeah.
And then, like, his, what's that dude's name? Fucking,
Cass. Cass was there, right?
Well, Big Cass. It was Big Cass and the other dude, too, the other big dude there that's with him, right?
Yeah, I don't.
Or was it just Cass?
I
think it was just Cass.
I only remember Cass. I don't remember.
But comes up behind him going, I don't know if you should do this, man. That kid's jacked. Being like, I don't know,
watch,
dude.
Yeah.
Trying to hold him back. That was what made it so good, was them all
selling
instantly on the fly going, oh, dude, we don't have to communicate. We're going to sell like this kid's threatening and it's sketchy. We got to get out of here. And that's what they did. It made that whole moment incredible.
It's how you know that they know their characters well.
That's right.
And it's just natural to them to do that.
So
it worked out. That moment was great, man.
That's a guy that I've enjoyed thoroughly in AEW is Big Bill.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that he's doing well for himself.
Well, he was good already, but he was always like...
But he felt unseasoned. He felt like he definitely still felt like he was learning... And
it was Enzo and Cass.
It was
right?
Enzo was so over,
and I think that was the problem. He was kind of in the shadow there.
Yeah, but since he's become Big Bill, I think he's been solid.
Yeah, he's been able to make that happen. I like that. I definitely like that for him. Jericho knew it.
Yeah, Jericho instantly, and Jericho. People try to say he doesn't put people over and shit.
What do you think he's doing? What do you think he's doing?
All he does is build new guys and try to put people over.
That's exactly what he's doing with this.
I don't get the heat on him for not building guys. I don't get that one. He's one guy for sure that I have seen do incredible work in AEW consistently and try to build other guys as stars. I
swear to God.
Just over and over again.
I swear to God, if you look at it, if you looked at like his win-loss record, Jericho's probably lost so many more matches than he's won. Like he has, you can't sit there and say he hasn't put guys over. There was a period where that's all he did.
Dude, the inner circle was so fucking nasty though. And looking back, and I always thought it was sick, but looking back on it now, I realize even more like, dude, that was one of the best factions in all of AEW.
Yeah.
It was so good, dude.
Yeah.
So good. Coming out to Judas, the crowd going nuts for him. They had so many memorable matches. All the stadium shows they did, and like that fucking what was it, like Blood and Guts or whatever they call it. It's basically War Games, the one they did. That was them versus whoever. And it ended with them all like sitting up on top of the cage and shit.
Yep.
That was nasty, dude.
Yeah, I don't care, dude. Jericho's top 2 for
sick.
Me. He's top 2 for me as far as I'm concerned.
I think he made Sammy Guevara. He made Jack Swagger, or whatever his name is. I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
It's still Jack something, isn't it?
No, it's that's a bummer, man, because I like Jack.
Yeah, he's good.
I like Jack Swagger, and I liked him when he was in WWE. I thought he got a bad rap because he just had a lisp at all, and that's super unfair.
I can't think of.
You know what I
Cody
mean?
has a Cody
does too. No one gives a fuck about that.
Yeah,
he's incredible on the mic.
Yeah,
but I feel Hagar, Jake Hagar, Jake Hagar. He's fucking been way better in AEW, I think.
Yeah.
With Chris. With all of his stuff he's done with Jericho has been phenomenal.
That's what I'm saying. Jericho isn't hesitant to do that.
It's a super early AEW moment, but one of my favorite AEW moments ever is a short little jab that Chris had towards the old regime of WWE when he first goes through the lineup and introduces the Inner Circle, and he gets to Jake Hager. And he's just talking about how he's a legit MMA fighter and shit like that, which he was.
Yeah.
He fought for Bellator like that. You can't deny that. He definitely fought real guys in Bellator and actually won.
Yep.
And was legit. And
Punk probably would have been better off going to Bellator.
I think so too. Yeah. But either way, and when he introduces him, the crowd is chanting "We the People," and Jericho just goes, "Yeah." What's he say? He's like, We the People is dead and buried or whatever. He's like,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
a trash gimmick from Bad Creative and it's done or whatever.
Yeah,
and then he
did.
just moves on and you'll never hear that again. The crowd just goes nuts for that shit, dude.
Yeah, because they love anytime you put WWE down.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But that was very justified, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah.
You know, and it did kind of get over though. You know,
Inner Circle was over.
Well, I'm saying We the People thing was kind of over too.
It was.
I mean, I think Gary came in here for a podcast one time. He was wearing a fucking We the People shirt. Mm-hmm. It's like I think they did all right. Swagger was good.
Me too. Swagger was good in WWE.
But I think
him and Cesaro and Rusev.
Yeah.
With
that was a great feud.
Well, he was under the name Zeb Coulter, which was weird. But the actual guy, I can't think of his name off the top of my head. He's a legend.
Yeah, that was a good. I mean, that pairing is great.
Because for some reason, all I can remember is Zeb Coulter because it's what we're talking about. But that squad was good.
Yeah, I wasn't mad about it.
No, I thought they were good.
Let's see what else we got. Penta and Breaker was a really good match.
Yeah,
I wish it didn't end the way it did.
Yeah,
but they're gonna have another match. They'll have another match.
Have to.
The thing is interesting with the Judgment Day trying to like get Penta in the group.
Yep.
They like throw him a chair. He throws it back at
and
Dom.
He goes, "Fuck you guys."
Somebody, I think he threw it at Dom.
He did, yeah. And he ended up siding with Bron. Yeah. Not as a team, but just going, fuck this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to join the fucking Judgment Day. Fuck you guys.
It's too early.
Is wicked pissed. I think it's because they're just sowing the seeds for the final breakup of the Judgment Day.
Yes, we need some help, and I think
it's just gonna be straight up. Finn leaves the Judgment Day.
Because what else is left?
Everybody else is with Dom.
Right.
Because here's the thing: Dom's with Liv. Liv has Raquel.
Yeah.
And Carlito's gonna go wherever Raquel is. Because he's constantly
probably
creeping on her.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite shit is Carlito in the back trying to be cool in front of Raquel, and she's like, "What the fuck?" And he's like, "Oh, no."
Yeah. Yeah, Finn will be the first one to leave.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And I don't know how much longer it's going to take.
He just fucking called Dom a snake right to his fucking face and walked away.
Yeah, he's in a singles match coming up too, isn't he?
For the title.
Yeah.
So it's 100% for the IC title against Breaker. I wouldn't be surprised if Dom screws him over at that. And that's how they get him out.
Maybe. Yeah, because maybe Dom's like, "Hey, I want to be the..."
And then you have JD McDonald come back.
Yeah.
He'll get a huge I think he's going to get a crowd pop when he comes back because people saw what happened and that he finished the match with a puncture lung and his respect points just lasered through the roof. So I think he's going to get a pop when he comes back.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised, man.
I
think
so
that moment was the final moment that really earned him respect with everybody, with the crowd,
audience,
with the company.
I agree. I think he was on CVV?
Good.
Was he on that? Okay, he was on something. I remember him talking about it.
He was on CVV recently.
And I saw that,
and I was like... He has been so good for so long and been just discounted because he looks like Lord Farquaad, which is an objective fact.
Yes.
But he was just the tiny body, big head guy. But he's been so good in the ring, and he's been such a clutch player in the Judgment Day that just gets overlooked. And I think this moment was something that really elevated his respect bar.
Yeah, and it sucks that you have to get injured for that to happen.
It does.
But I remember watching that interview and going like, yeah, he's going to come back and have like some support here. Because people love when you tough through a match and it's known that you did that.
Look at what happened with Triple H when he blew his quad.
Right. That
return's one of the biggest returns ever.
Yeah. With the fucking jacket, dude. That jacket was iconic.
The jean jacket with the leather vest over it.
With the threads ripped and shit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was sweet. Yeah, Triple H. I went down a rabbit hole with Triple H the other day. Watched the game interview and all that shit. Man, it is so cool watching that because you like can literally see him change characters during the interview.
Yep.
You're watching it happen.
Yeah.
And this is
my favorite promo of his whole career. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah,
it's about me getting what I want and
you
what
want me to shoot
deserve.
with this interview? I'll fucking shoot. Yeah, and it was fucking dude. It was all so good. And fucking, he's sitting there with the fucking leather backwards.
That promo, he's so intense and locked in, and it's just so good. And then, of course, he says, talk about student of the game. I am the fucking game.
Nobody bleeds this business, lives this business.
Yeah, dude, it's so good. So good.
Yeah, like I just remember because like you literally watch the character transform right there.
Yep.
The way he's talking and everything. It's those kind of interviews. You go back and look at it and you're like, wow, this is like a major turning point for this character.
Yeah.
And was it on a whim? Like, did they have this planned out?
That Triple H for Mankind, same way.
Yeah.
Sit down with Jim Ross.
That
game changing.
Triple H knew
career.
going into that, right? He did. Sit down with JR. He's like, this is what's happening. I'm going. This is the.
I'm going on a singles run. Yeah. And I'm setting that up right now. I'm breaking away from DX. Yeah, and going after
this is about
what
me.
I want.
He said it multiple times.
100 times. Yep.
And it's like, yes, like that's what you have to do. And it makes me think like, why don't people, you almost have to force yourself into the picture, right? And that's what I want to see more guys do. I want to see more guys go like,
see it.
You do, but I want to see
LA Knight.
But LA Knight needs to do that, right? He needs to have a promo where he's like, I am one of the top performers. Like, he doesn't say it outright.
No.
He knows he is, but I think he needs to have a moment where he's on TV and says, this is like, I need to be in these matches. Like, he needs to vocalize it for himself on TV. That's because then you're almost undeniable. And then the fans are like, oh yeah.
I think he is undeniable, and I think his big moment was when he came back as LA Knight, and was it Money in the Bank? I think it was Money in the Bank. He came out and he cut this promo on everybody in the ring, and it was so fucking incredible. Yeah. And he got such a crazy ass crowd reaction. And after that, it was like less than 6 months, and he was main eventing a pay-per-view against Roman for the WWE title. Having said that, since then, I haven't seen him get back into that zone.
The issue is that the main event picture is so 40 crowded.
Guys in it. So crowded. It's never been more crowded.
Yeah, and that's great, and it's also, and it's like it's just great, I guess, right? Yeah. Because he can still be middle of the card and still get the respect.
That's right. He's still selling merch. He's still like a top guy.
But I just like to see guys who come out and stick up for themselves.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I think that is what I totally agree with you. I think. If he comes out and or even just is in a backstage sitting interview of some kind, and he cuts some promo, just one, where he proclaims a new era for himself as a top guy, I think that it would work the same way. It was
what I thought when I saw the Triple H thing again. He's like, I took all this shit. Like, who took all this shit for it? With the click and all that stuff.
Yep.
Me, what I mean? Good old Triple H, he'll bounce back or whatever. And it's like, this is the moment
put it on them because they're leaving. You're not going to put it on Shawn because he's your top guy.
Yeah, and it's like,
so who gets it? Me.
It felt like it was a moment where he knew that his character had to stick up for himself.
Yep.
And say like, I'm done taking the shit.
It's my fucking time.
I can do it. It's my time. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Big moment. And like, I wish some guys would do that. There's some guys, and it's like, even if it doesn't work out, you still shoot your shot there.
And the thing is it's not Vince anymore.
And so they can take the chance.
You go out and you take a chance and it gets over.
Yeah.
You know what Triple H is going to do? He's going to go, fucking good shit, man.
Right.
You just did something.
And he knows better than anybody.
He's going to roll with it.
Better than anybody, he's going to understand what he just did.
It's literally what he did to set himself off.
That's what I'm saying, right.
So he's wicked going to understand it.
Yeah, I would like to see more guys.
It doesn't mean go into business for yourself.
I think just more guys need to roll the dice.
Yeah, roll the dice, take a chance, and get over. I know it's easier said than done, obviously.
And now I think a lot of guys are comfortable with not doing it because the creative is good and good stories. And they're involved in good shit.
You can have a legit Hall of Fame career and never be world champion though.
Yeah.
Because it's so good and there's so many good guys.
Mm-hmm.
You can have compelling stories, 4 belts. Like you could be Gunther, who will go into history forever and will absolutely, there's no question, he could retire tomorrow. He's going in the Hall of Fame just because of his IC title run. Is the greatest IC title run of all time. Period.
I could see it, yeah.
Yep. And so you can make a legacy for yourself and never be world champion.
Yeah.
But is that what you want to be remembered for? Because there's guys like R-Truth who are like, hell yeah, I want to be the guy that climbs a ladder in the Royal Rumble. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it just felt like back then there were guys
I do want to see, so I do want to say this before we end. This is what I think, and I've been thinking a lot about it. The handful of things I want to see in this Cena heel run.
Okay.
I want to see him go to WrestleMania, and I want to see him beat Cody for the title and break Flair's record as a heel.
Mm-hmm.
Sets Cody back on a path to try to get back to the title.
I agree with that.
Cena is the world champion as a heel, defends it. I want to see him defend it against 3 people, specific people that I think he's got to defend it against. Orton.
Yep.
R-Truth, because it's R-Truth's childhood hero who's heartbroken by Cena turning heel, and he constantly posts on social media he can't handle it.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't believe it's real and shit, right? Classic R-Truth. I think it would be who's ever been more deserving, how much he's given for the business, and how much how entertaining he is, and how good he is, and how over with the fans he is. And you don't have him win, but to have him challenge John and get to wrestle one main event, even if it's like a Backlash or something, just have the main event be Truth versus Cena once. He deserves that so much.
You would have, especially if Cena's still a heel.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd get such a big reaction for R-Truth.
Think about that, dude. And you don't have to have him win. I get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But man, would that be awesome to see him
even
get?
Could, if it's a non-title match or something, you even could have him win.
But
with
here's
some
why I
roll-up or
say
some
you
sketchy
don't.
shit.
Here's why I say you don't, because I think there's an even
Or
better
the Miz
story there.
or some fucked up shit. You know,
There's
what I
an
mean?
even better story. You have Cena drop the belt at the end of the day down the road to Punk. And it's Punk's first world title since he got back. And it's a perfect repayment for what Cena did for Punk back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The only other way you do it is by having Punk win the title and be the one that loses to Cena to give him the title, to be a reversal of Cena losing to Punk back in the day to give Cena the title and make him in Chicago when he went and blew a kiss to Vince and went out through the crowd with the title. Was beating Cena.
Yeah.
There's just something there with Cena and Punk where I think you've got to get to those guys feuding for the WWE Championship.
And
it's the last time you're ever going to get to do it.
Plus, if Punk ends up with the title, you got Cody and Punk who are already friends, and you can break that situation into
absolutely, absolutely, yep, no question there.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways they can go.
But I would love to see. I really want to see.
There's one thing that
I really want to see Orton, and I really want to see Punk. Yes. And I think that Orton doesn't even need to challenge him for the title.
Or yeah,
I think you could legit have Orton be his last match.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that would just be so
full circle type thing.
Yeah, a whole career full circle.
Yeah,
and I think at some point they will have Cena have a redemption in this year where he comes back around to realize, you know.
Yep.
I think they're already sowing the seeds for it.
Yeah, I think Cena should face that kid that he was talking shit to in the crowd.
I think so too.
That could be a good match.
Yep. Yeah, with Braun Strowman as his tag team partner, the kids.
Yeah.
It'd be his second time tag teaming with a random child for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, that could be good.
That could be good. Sure it would. Yeah, that's a full circle for him to tag team with another kid.
Yeah, just like a group of Make-A-Wish kids.
Oh my god, dude, that's so funny.
All right. Yeah, That's it. Thank you guys for watching. Go over to w.gg, use
Yep.
the promo code. Do the old, do the YouTube stuff, the algorithm stuff, the likes, the subscribes,
the drill.
The bell thing that people have to do now for some reason because it doesn't send you notifications anymore unless you hit the bell. And every 2 weeks we post a new episode. So,
yep.
That's it. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in 2 weeks.